Hello and welcome to the Autocar Show once again. We're right in the middle of evaluating the car of the year and bike of the year. There's been a lot of excitement in the first half and lots more to come.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to bike of the year evaluation, of course. And like you said, there's definitely a lot of action. But let's not talk about it. Let's jump right in and show you what's coming your way. All the hatchbacks and the saloons were tested a little earlier by the jury members. There were also two MPVs that were in the running for the car of the year, and they were being tested thoroughly. Nissan's Evalia was holding its own despite being under very close scrutiny.
Technologically, very good. It's the first monocoque sort of MPV, and they've done a fantastic job. It's really nice and stiff, and there's plenty of space. There's no chassis, so you get more space for the seats. Nice interiors.
From behind the wheel though, the Evalia didn't feel very car-like to drive.
You know, compared to the Innova and the Aria and stuff, which I believe are in the same segment, and the Ertiga as well, it's a little bit different. I think it's more of a people's carrier, because it's the CG is really high, and you feel a lot of boaty, the roll on it, and tires are really small as well for the car.
Maruti Suzuki's Ertiga was also put under the microscope.
It's also a brilliant car. They've done a very good job with it. I mean, it's not easy taking a hatch and stretching it a bit and getting an extra row of seats in. They've done an exceptional job. It's got really no real weaknesses.
On the whole, Maruti's urban MPV was managing to impress.
The fit and finish is 5 notches up in what I expected a Maruti to be. It has, for the front and the rear seat, I've sat in both the seats. Of course, I wouldn't be able to sit in the last seat, which I probably am not expected to sit.
Apart from the fact that it's not a full-sized MPV, it's a compact MPV. It's got the benefit of having a monocoque. It's got the benefit of having all the economic engines, the good gearbox, the nice interiors. They carried all that stuff over. They haven't spent more money on that. So you get this car at a really good, affordable price, and that's the key.
And now it's time to test out the big boys of the automotive world, the SUVs. But there were some that weren't all that big, like the Mahindra Quanto. How would it fare in this group?
It has transformed. I think the big surprise really is the 3-cylinder engine, the 1.5. More for its refinement, because normally 3 cylinders you don't expect them to be that refined. It is really amazingly refined. Performance is nothing too spectacular, but it's a very drivable motor, so I think in city it's pretty good.
But the Quanto's shortcomings were a bit hard to overlook.
It's like an MPV that's trying to be an SUV, trying to be a hatchback. It's of course it's very high also, and there's a lot of body roll all over. The steering doesn't feel like it's connected to the front wheels either.
Renault's Duster isn't your quintessential SUV either. It's not very big or very tough looking, but it does seem to have hit a sweet spot.
In terms of suspension, it's not all that soft as it looks. That would expect on a car that goes on a highway. It's got a pretty good hard suspension, and it takes the bumps and all the juddering very well.
On a rough road, it seems quite good because of the ground clearance and so on. But it's not a true off-road, obviously, but it's quite well packaged.
But the jury members felt that the Duster needed to improve in some areas.
The interiors, I think, could be a little bit better. But I think, again, one has to weigh it against the kind of value that it proposes.
Tata's new Safari is the Storm. It is a tough and traditional SUV that's hoping to have had caught up with the times.
Big improvement in the way it drives, the refinement of the engine, the way it takes off-road shocks, the ride quality, big improvement.
However, the Storm could have made a bigger splash.
The car looks the same, only the nose and the tail is different. That's the big issue with the car.
On this kind of rough road, you realize it's built a little bit more for comfort than for serious off-roading. It pitches a lot, so the car's bouncing around quite a bit all over the place.
Chevrolet's Captiva is a soft roader with a mighty motor. How did it fare in this group?
To drive it actually is quite a pleasure. It feels more like a sedan. In fact, it's really easy. There's nothing too hard, nothing too heavy. You can just relax and drive it, and I feel really comfortable in it.
It revs really nicely, so it doesn't feel strained like a diesel. There's no strain when you ask it to deliver power. It's quite nice in that way, and the ride is nice and flat. Doesn't bounce around too much over bumps. Decent gearbox, so a nice sort of upgrade.
The strengths that the Captiva showcased when it was being driven over the rough roads will only be amplified when it is driven on less demanding city roads. The SsangYong Rexton's roots can be traced back to the first generation Mercedes M-Class. But the jury isn't impressed by genetics alone.
Well, it's a little soft. I mean, it's not really got a very planted feel.
And I find the suspension is way too soft for Indian road conditions.
Yeah, I mean, it has a pretty decent motor. I think the engine is not so bad, but then the steering is not very precise, it's very vague, and it just feels top heavy.
The Rexton may not be a perfect machine for roughing it out, but it certainly feels urban. However, this SUV from SsangYong knows exactly how to play on the heartstrings.
Overall, it's very well finished. Inside, it's really very well finished and probably value for money.
The machine that you'd want to be roughing it out with is this, the Mitsubishi Pajero Sport, and it was thundering through the course.
It's very comfortable and happy on such a road, and it's really easy and nice to drive. You can carry on driving on a road like this the whole day.
Well, I think it's a good off-roader. It has your four-wheel high, four-wheel low, so I think you can really do some nice off-roading in the Pajero Sport and have fun with it as well.
But the Pajero Sport has to feel civil on the road too.
But on road, it's not too bad. The ride is pretty good. But again, the power delivery is a bit peaky and not as linear as I would have liked. So heavy clutch as well. So combination of that's going to make town driving a bit difficult.
Now, would Audi's baby SUV, the Q3, feel out of place on this rough road and in this company?
The car is packaged well, but can't call it an off-roader because I don't think it has the capabilities of doing a lot of off-roading.
Like every Audi, the Q3 was prepared to impress.
And I really like the quality of everything inside also. There are all these small details and little touches of aluminum inserts and everything. I think they work really well on the car.
Volkswagen's new Touareg is a hulking luxury SUV, and it impressed the jury with its capabilities.
The car that has no loose ends at all. I don't think there's a car here that can be this confidence. I'm totally floored by it, absolutely. But I drove on, it's you need to feel safe, and it gives you confidence. A sense of confidence is there with this Touareg.
I think really nice. Took the bad road really well. I didn't even feel that it was so bad under me. In fact, this Touareg is really, really impressive as a luxury SUV. The interiors, be it the way it performs, the way it dealt with the off-road, the rough terrain, I think it's really impressive.
And when you drive onto the black stuff, the Touareg will feel every bit as capable and just as special. And its understated look as it turns out, was no bother for the jury members. Mercedes' new M-Class also wants to make a mark in the luxury SUV space. But does it have the right combination to impress the jury?
I think it rides on bigger tires and it takes up the bumps quite easily, and you feel pretty solid in this car.
Feel that you'll want to drive it slow and take care of the car. It is an expensive luxury car, but it goes so well. After around 2 minutes, you're confident in really riding roughshod over everything. Really impressive. Adjustable dampers. You put it on soft. You lift the car up. Fantastic SUV.
So, does the M-Class have what it takes?
I think, this is more an on-road car. It's not really an off-roader, but then none of these cars in the segment really are. But I think, it's so smooth, it can be a good alternative to a saloon car.
And now it's time to hop on to two wheels. There are 3 award categories for the bikes. The import bike category has the best motorcycles from around the world that have gone on sale in India. The contenders in this category are Honda's revamped for 2012 CBR 1000RR. The Fireblade is even sharper and quicker than before. Honda's VT 1300 CX Fury. It might look like a custom chopper, but it is 100% factory made. Suzuki's Intruder M800R. This imposing cruiser keeps its oomph factor intact, but it makes do with a smaller motor. Ducati Street Fighter 848. It's thoroughly stylish, deliciously quick, and disdainfully minimal. The Panigale 1199. This is Ducati's cutting-edge flagship motorcycle. Its brilliance is in its ability to be devastatingly quick, yet surprisingly easy to ride. Husqvarna's Nura 900R. This super motard is a motorcycle that's as mean to ride as its looks suggest. Then there's the premium bike of the year. This year's list includes motorcycles such as Kawasaki's new Ninja 650. Styling, suspension, chassis, engine. The Ninja 650 has been revised in every area to deliver an even sweeter package. Ducati's Monster 795. This everyday Ducati may be assembled in Thailand, but it is every bit an Italian thoroughbred, and it comes at a very tempting price tag. Harley-Davidson launched a trio of motorcycles from their Dyna range. Relative to the bigger bikes of the Harley range, these motorcycles are a bit more affordable, but they sport proper bombastic motors and have the big cruiser bike feel. These include the Superglide Custom, the Street Bob, and the Fat Bob. But when it comes to Bike of the Year, the list of contenders has 10 entries. Let's start things off with the Commuters. The Dream Yuga gave a solid boost to Honda's mass market ambitions. Suzuki's 113cc Hayate also attacked the segment that is accounting for a growing number of motorcycles. Stepping up the displacement ladder amongst the commuters is the 125cc Fair, which is where Hero launched their 125cc commuter, the Igniter. TVS also came back with a bang. They had their capable new commuter, the 125cc Phoenix. Bajaj's next generation Discover family was unveiled with the arrival of the ambitious Discover 125 ST. On the touring front, there was only one launch, the Royal Enfield Thunderbird 500. There were also 4 sport bikes in the fray for the Bike of the Year. First up is KTM's first bike for India, the 200 Duke. Bajaj's sport bike for the masses is the Pulsar 200 NS. and Honda launched their baby CBR, the 150R. Finally, Hyosung reintroduced their GT250 to India in the fully faired guise as the 250R. To evaluate the motorcycles, there was a jury team made up of 3 members, starting with ace motocross racer CS Santosh.
Hi, my name is CS Santosh and I'm a professional off-road racer and I'm here for the 2013 Autocar Bike of the Year.
Santosh is a multiple Indian motocross champion, but his most recent triumph is almost unbelievable in itself. He won the Raid D Himalaya in 2012 on his very first attempt. Next up is Autocar India's two-wheeler editor, Rishad Cooper.
Hi, Rishad Cooper here, two-wheeler editor, Autocar India. It's time to find out which is Bike of the Year 2013.
Rishad began his road test career in 2003 and has since tested just about every two-wheeler in the country. He also holds the distinction of being a jury member on the prestigious iBotti, which is the International Bike of the Year award. And last on the jury panel is, well, me.
Hi, I'm Karthikeya Singhi. 2012 has been a very interesting year. Been reviewing many different kinds of motorcycles here on the Autocar show. And now I'm here as jury member for Bike of the Year.
I'm fortunate enough to review the latest Indian two-wheelers for all of you watching the Autocar show. Which means I'm spending a lot of time on two wheels, and honestly, I'm glad for it. Now, we get down to business. On the basis of ability, technology, and relevance to the segment, the list of bikes competing for the Bike of the Year were whittled down to the top 3. Starting with Honda's CBR 150R. This entry-level sports bike is packed with technology, beautiful engineering, and has styling that turns heads everywhere it goes. KTM's 200 Duke is an edgy little machine. Just like its design, it accelerates, turns, and stops with a sharpness that's hard to believe. This is an avant-garde machine that has a lot of bite. The 200 NS has raised the bar for India's most popular performance motorcycle brand. The exhilaration and dynamics of the Pulsar 200 NS comes at a price tag that makes it very accessible to the masses. Then it was time to hit the road to get a taste of each machine. We got to evaluate for ourselves which one of these deserved the crown of Bike of the Year. Bajaj's Pulsar 200 NS is a perfectly relevant motorcycle for modern India. And there is a lot to like about the motorcycle.
Definitely step up from the Pulsars. They're leaning towards a more sportier feel, and I think the way it's priced and the way it's also fit is going to be a good commuter bike as well in the city.
So I like the engine, very responsive, typical of Pulsars. And when it comes to handling, this is a new benchmark for Pulsars.
The Pulsar though can seem a bit of a please-all, which is a bit risky.
It's a slightly compromised motorcycle, and in that sense there's some things I do not like. For instance, the seating position. It's very toppish. The handling, it feels a bit heavy in terms of the steering. And the ride is softer, feels a bit lumpy.
But you can never accuse the KTM 200 Duke of being anything but super focused. And it was hammering the point home.
It's totally spec to the core. You've got everything possible. Upside down front forks, monoshock, front and rear discs. The engine has liquid cooling, fuel injection, 4 valves per cylinder. you just name it, and it all comes together and works on the road. It's fast. If you want a sporty bike, this is it.
Because of the Duke's focused nature, its suspension setup felt a bit too firm when ridden fast over the not-so-smooth patches of the test strip. Meanwhile, Honda is known for making well-mannered motorcycles, and the CBR 150R is certainly cast in the same mold.
It really feels like a very sporty bike, very nice and revvy engine, smooth, typical Honda gear shift.
Initially, when I got on, I was expecting it to be a bit cramped, but it surprised me. The Honda is roomy. I feel comfortable on the bike, and it's a very precise motorcycle. Just by looking at it, you can tell that it's been built for a purpose, and that's to go faster on a racetrack.
But the CBR 150R wasn't without its shortcomings.
It starts paling when you start comparing it to its main rival in India, the Yamaha R15 version 2, because Honda has gone overboard with the pricing. It's more expensive and lower specs than the Yamaha.
The only thing is the price tag. I mean, I could have lived with the slightly weedy power delivery, but the price tag, that's a thorn in the CBR 150R side.
So after riding all three motorcycles to our heart's content, we were handed our score sheets by KPMG. With the intricacies of scoring clarified, each one of us cast a vote for the motorcycle that we thought deserved to be Bike of the Year. So, have we forgotten anything? Car testing? Check. Bike testing? Check. Scoring the contenders? Check. Okay, everything seems to be in order, which means it's time to wrap up the jury round. Well, the jury members are casting their votes, and you can do the same. You can pick the viewer's choice Car of the Year and Bike of the Year. All you need to do is send an SMS or log on to the Bloomberg TV India website and vote for your favorite contender. The lucky winners will get to present the award at the ceremony.
Well, it's finally done. Our work is over. But it's been really tiring and I think taxing for everyone.
Absolutely. I think for you jury members, for the bike jury, the bikes, the cars, I think everybody is just like, glad it's over with now.
Absolutely. It's really tough, picking a winner out of a lot like this. But we've cast our votes. We've made our decision. Have you guys been doing that as well?
Have you guys been taking notes? Because it's not easy picking a winner, and I hope you have, because then you can compare notes on the awards night.
Absolutely. We've put our votes in. We've made our decisions. If you have, you can find out if you made the right one on the 9th of January, which is our awards night. Catch it live.